Let us now proceed with absolute values. So in this section, what we want to do is to solve equations and inequalities which involve absolute values. So our goal is to remove those absolute value signs and then solve for the variable x. So let us recall also that the absolute value of a number refers to its distance from 0. Now, for example, we want to solve this simple um, case. Absolute value of x equals 5. So, meaning to say, we're looking for a number or numbers whose distance from 0 is equal to 5. And what will be those two numbers? So those are just 5 and -5, because as you can see over here, um, negative, this one here, -5, its distance from 0 is 5, and the distance of 5 from 0 is also equal to 5. So let me just write it here. So absolute value of x equals 5. This is equivalent to x equals 5, or x equals -5. Now, in general, if we have this one, if we want to remove the absolute value sign in equation, so what you do is you just copy this one. You just copy it without the absolute value sign, and then for the second equation, you just get the negative counterpart. Okay? Now let's go to inequalities. So for example, we want to solve this one. Absolute value of x is less than 5. So meaning to say, we're looking for numbers whose distance from 0 is less than 5. So where are those numbers? So that would be here, right? So this numbers over here, their distance from 0 is less than 5, and also this one also. Okay, so let me just write it here. So absolute value of x is less than 5 becomes, so this is saying x is less than 5 and x should be greater than -5. I'm sorry for my very poor handwriting. Anyway, so what is that saying? So if you have a less than, we have a less than sign, what happens is that your number inside the absolute value sign gets sandwiched by k and it's negative. Now, what about if we have greater than, inequality sign? Like in this case, absolute value of x is greater than 5. So where are those numbers whose distance from 0 is greater than 5? Where are they? So they are, oops, this one is not included. These numbers, right? So the numbers less than -5, or the numbers which are greater than 5. So let me just write it here. So if we want to remove the absolute value sign, this becomes x is greater than 5, or x is less than -5. So in general, what that means is if we have an inequality sign which involves the greater than sign over here, and then you have your absolute value. So what you do is you just copy it without the absolute value sign, or don't forget, if it's greater than, it's or. And then you just flip this to the greater than sign becomes less than, and then k becomes its negative. So what I have here is just a summary of the things that we have discussed. So again, if you have this one, if you have equality sign, the solution set will just be this two sets, um, k and negative k. And then if you have less than, so the solution set will be this interval that's less than, so k and negative k are not included. Whereas if it's greater than, oops, it's here. It's this. Now let's look at this example. Which of the following inequalities create the graph below? So just by looking at the graph, since the graph consists of two separate um, rays of sort, right? So it cannot be choice A because remember, if you have a less than sign, the graph will look like this, no? Not two separate lines. So we can easily eliminate A and B. Now let's take a look at C. Let's see whether the solution set of this one is represented by the graph given above. So, okay, so let's look at this one. So since it's greater than, oops, it will be divided into two. So first, copy without the absolute value sign. Then for the other part, copy, and then this 2 over here gets flipped, so it becomes less than negative 8. And then we can now solve for x. So we have negative x is greater than, let's transpose 8 plus 4. Negative x is greater than 12. So I am dividing both sides by negative 1. So it becomes x is less than, oops, my less than, negative 12. And then going back to this inequality here, let's solve. So similarly, negative 8 plus 4. So this becomes negative 4. Negative x. Again, I'm also dividing both sides by negative 1. So it becomes x is greater than 4. So the graph is, this is negative 12, this is 4, numbers greater than 4, numbers less than negative, oops, negative 12. And this is exactly the graph that was given to us earlier. So the answer is this one, letter C.